Good.
Hello, welcome back to the Introvert Circus. So today we are doing a craft with this big round. I'm going to be making a wobble board and walking you through how to do it. So you can buy these round boards at Home Depot. I'm sure other hardware stores as well. This cost me $12.24, I believe. So really inexpensive for putting together a wobble board. This is what you're going to need. You're going to need a tennis ball, an old sock, and you'll also need a staple gun and any kind of paint if you want that. So it's really the cheapest way to get a wobble board. The cheapest wobble boards, whenever I look for them for dogs, are over $50, really close to like $75, $85. And I just don't want to be spending that kind of money for something that I don't need that much use of. So this is me painting what will be the underside of the wobble board and just putting a coat of paint on it. I only did one coat on the bottom, mostly because I just didn't have a ton of paint. I'm just using acrylic craft paint. It holds up really well for wood, which is what it is. You could seal it if you wanted to. I've never needed to. I made one of these a few years ago when we lived in New York City and used it hard, and then it was not something that made the cut for moving cross country. There you can see the whole underside is painted there. All right, so we have this side dry now, and so now it's time to flip it over and do the design on this side. And it worked out pretty well. I only did one coat, which is fine for the back side. I didn't want to use a ton of paint on it, and ultimately it's just going to be facing the mats on the floor anyway. So I didn't want to worry that much about it, but I did want the color to be on that side. I actually had the exact same color combo for the one I had in New York and didn't move, though I did end up selling it to somebody we trained agility with when we moved. So for this side, I am just going to do a star design on the wood. I'm adjusting the camera, evidently. You're going to do a star design on the wood, and I'm just sketching it out in pencil, and then we'll go in and do the paint. I'm going to do a yellow star, and then the red, which is on the bottom and on the edges, for the rest of it. And I will spare you watching how many times I had to erase my pencil lines and redraw them. So here's yellow paint. I could have used a paint tray for this, but I didn't. I just used the wobble board itself for painting. So I find that just using craft paint works just fine for this surface. You absolutely could, though, use more of a no-skid surface. Options would be mixing sand into your paint. Fun fact, back in ye olden days of dog agility, that's what contact equipment was. One of my first jobs when I was in high school was re-sand painting contact equipment, and it was what we used for equipment that was competition grade equipment and practice equipment. So that is an option. If you wanted to do that, you can also get like a rubberized matting and attach it to the board. There's a lot of options you could do to add more traction on it. I don't find that I need it, so I didn't. But those are things you could do if you wanted to make your board less potentially slippy, though I don't find this wood particularly slippery, but there are options. Sand would probably be the cheapest way to do that. And probably the easiest, where you wouldn't have to cut any sort of matting into a circle, which sounds like an absolute nightmare to me. And you can obviously put any shape you want on it. I just like the circus vibes of doing the star. It's kind of like a star ball. I think it looks super cute and was pretty easy for me to actually pull off in paint, which was also a big bonus. I don't think I end up showing it. I do end up doing 2 coats of paint for the star. Actually, the whole top of the wobble board, I did 2 coats of paint on just to get more color density, because I thought it would look nicer. So that's something to think about, making sure you have enough paint for it. But 2 coats did it, and it turned out looking really well. Also, make sure to let your layers dry in between. I let the yellow dry before going in with the red. The great thing about using this kind of craft paint, though, is it is really quick dry. So I was able to do all the painting in one afternoon and early evening for the backside and the front side of the wobble board, which was great. So this is definitely a project that you can conquer in a weekend. This paint was super cheap. I bought like a 4-pack of primary colors for under $3 at Michael's craft store. before, and that's what I used here with just a little foam brush. So the total price on making the wobble board is easily under $15. Okay, so I am back. It is the next day. I have let this completely dry. I can't remember what video clips I got last night, but I finished painting it, so now it is ready to go. So this is going to be the top part, so now it's ready to put it together. So actually putting it together, I have it laid down. This is the back side of it, and what you need is a tennis ball and an old sock, ideally for your sake, a sock that no longer has a pair. So this is the tennis ball that I got from a local pet shop as part of like a giveaway goodie bag at a dog event last year. Just a regular tennis ball will do, and then I have a sock. This one happens to color coordinate, which is handy but doesn't need to happen, and you need a staple gun. So for this, you're going to put your sock or your tennis ball in your sock into the hole, and then you're going to try to get it in the middle. Somebody who is more precise than me could absolutely measure, but I'm not going to do that. And you're going to just staple gun the sock onto the board. And I like to do a couple extra just to really make sure it is on there. Okay, so now it's on, and then you can cut your excess sock or just wrap it over the top of your ball. And so now you have the ball, you can flip it back over, and you have a wobble board. And this is pretty solid. Like, you know, obviously check in on it, make sure it's holding together, but I have used these with large dogs, absolutely no problem. And that is how we make a wobble board. And here is our finished wobble board. So Sirius, when she was a tiny puppy, loved the wobble board. She thought it was a ton of fun. And then when she was about 7 months old and she grew a lot, and she was more nervous about the wobble board, which is why I actually made the wobble board I had like this in New York. And as you can see here, she's just like, what is this? She hasn't seen one in quite a while, probably a year and a half, 2 years, I guess. And she thinks it's pretty fun now. And it's such a great way to build confidence with dogs who are maybe a little nervous about things moving under their feet, which is really common in any large breed dog in particular. They're wonderful for puppies and adults with confidence building, and just a great object to have in your training repertoire. And it's real easy to make, as you saw. She has been having a ton of fun with incorporating this into our training. Whoop, that one made her a little bit nervous. Put our feet back on it again. And when you're starting to work with a wobble board, you want to start with just rewarding any interest in the board, sniffing it, pawing at it, and start with even one paw on it and treat. Don't worry about trying to get all their feet on it. As you can see, I'm rewarding 2 feet because that is where she's super confident, as well as asking her to walk over it. Here, we're getting tons of jackpot treats because she actually has 3 feet on it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if your dog likes wobble boards, if you've made a wobble board. Let me know if you're planning to make one. And if you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. We'll see you real soon. Bye.